Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Magic of Mayhem. I'm your host, Austin. This is episode 4. Episode 4, which means this has been a whole month of this. If you're just listening for the first time, welcome. If you've been with me through this whole time, thank you for returning. I really appreciate you spending your day with me. We're now halfway through, after this episode, we'll be halfway through our 8-part series going over Disneyland and things that make Disneyland so awesome. So I'm really excited to get this one rolling. This is going to be a good one. I hope you're ready to lock in. Something that came up today on my Facebook memories was like a reaction video to Star Wars Rogue One. Rogue One, the end scene when the Death Star plans get passed off and Vader shows up, and you literally at the end you see Princess Leia receive those plans, and then like the movie ends. That scene, after it being out for a while now, still to this day gives me chills. After watching it again this morning, I literally just was like, oh, how amazing Rogue One ended. Just makes me super jealous that like why all the other movies couldn't be. I mean, most Star Wars crushes it, but like that tie in, how they finished that movie cannot be topped. Rogue One's ending was epic. Now, we're going to use that as a perfect segue to go into today's topic on Disneyland. And that topic is, what creates the magic? The magic in Disneyland. Now, like I said, I watched Rogue One, that one clip again, and it just gave me chills, right? It gets you excited about Disneyland. It gets you excited about Star Wars. The way they created that magical moment, transition from movies to movies, and it just perfect in sync just came together, is one of the best reasons why Rogue One is magical. Amazing. Side note, we're rocking Buzz Lightyear today. Got a Buzz Lightyear shirt on. But yeah, that movie correlates such I think paints a great picture of what Disney is capable of creating that magic for you. Now, since this is going to be specifically on Disneyland, I'm going to talk about things that correlate, that go from one thing and include the park. So since we started off with Star Wars, Rogue One, Star Wars in general as a whole for Disney is just magical. Star Wars, that alternate universe of a galaxy far, far away, and how Disney uses it in the parks, right? They start with Star Tours, which in the 80s, 90s, up until maybe 10 years ago, was still freaking awesome. Star Tours, although now as I'm getting older, I'm sure a lot of you can relate now, but excuse me, as I'm getting older now, Star Tours is a lot harder on my head. I always feel like I'm sick, getting nauseous after that. But yeah, Star Tours is rough on the body now. My wife and I both get super nauseated now. So, but still, creating that magical moment, riding Star Tours, getting to physically feel like you're part of the Star Wars universe by riding that ride, is a perfect way that they created that magic with George Lucas and created a cool like thrill ride that correlates with Disney. Like, epic. Star Tours was awesome. Such a cool ride, fun to be a part of, especially when they made it 3D. And then if you're the Rebel spy, even more epic. It just adds to that Disney magic from a Star Wars movie to a ride. Now, that does not come anywhere close to what Black Spire Outpost is, right? Star Wars Land, it just, that creates that magical atmosphere that you are in the movie. You are 100% in the Star Wars Galaxy universe, which is freaking epic, right? You walk around, whether you are getting, gear, merch, Star Wars, Stormtrooper helmet, an officer hat, anything there. I mean, building a lightsaber, oh my gosh. I know, and we've all probably have done it now at this point, but building a lightsaber and the magical everything that you just, yeah, you build it, you feel like you're a legit Jedi or Sith Lord, right? Which I built a red lightsaber because Sith all day, every way. Yeah. So, but to build that lightsaber and the way they set it up as a presentation, as like a mini show, just made you feel amazing, right? You just are encapsulated inside the magic of Disney. They just suck you in. You piece by piece feel like the force is with you as you build your lightsaber. And then that reveal when you lift it up. Oh, I was 30, 29 when I did it 4 years ago, 28. And 12-year-old, 10-year-old Austin came alive to just, I remember when, Revenge of the Sith, I'm sorry, the third one, not the second trilogy. Was it Revenge of the Sith? Why am I blanking out right now? The third one that came out when Anakin and Obi-Wan have their whole lightsaber battle. That one just like the 12-year-old version of me reenacted that scene probably so many times with my neighbor at the time. Me and him were so into Star Wars that it just was epic. So 12-year-old me getting to relive that in Star Wars Black Spire Outpost and building that lightsaber definitely was an epic experience. It just brought me back to being a kid again, right? And magicalness. So I can only understand and feel and relate to the kids that got to build it these days. They're so spoiled, man. Kids these days they get the magic just put in their hand and they're like, yeah, this is cool. No, it is epic. Epic. I think that's a great correlation of movies coming to Disneyland and creating that magic. Honestly, without the movies, we wouldn't have Disneyland, right? We wouldn't have the old school cartoons that created what in Walt Disney's mind was the perfect start for Disneyland, right? We wouldn't have Mickey. We wouldn't have anything without the movies. I think that's what makes Disneyland so great is they correlate and connect us so well with characters based on a movie that when we get to experience it in real life, that it's just bar none the best. So I've got a few movies to just correlate with the park. Obviously, we just came out swinging with Star Wars because Star Wars is just sets the bar. Rise of the Resistance, you can't forget that. Getting to fly the Millennium Falcon after seeing that, the older movies as a kid and just being in love with the Falcon, like awesome. Right, and you get to fly it to jump to hyperspace is like every little bit of the inside small Austin was just loving it as an adult. So yeah, Disneyland, Star Wars connection, they killed it. That Star Wars land I will always go there. It is one of my favorite things ever. So next movie, one of my favorites growing up too. You have to go with Indiana Jones. Now, they put it not in its own land, although I am so excited that it is happening in Walt Disney World and they get to experience Indiana Jones. I'm so happy that they're keeping the magic of Indiana Jones alive. The last movie was good, CGI-wise good. Harrison Ford, obviously, he's older now. He's one of my favorite people of all time as far as actor-wise. But to see him, the only thing that threw me off was his old voice on a CGI'd young version of him. I know they have the technology these days that they could have voiced it as if he was still young, but still. After growing up and seeing him as a younger version and then them using an old voice with that younger version, it really threw me off in the magic. But that doesn't take away from the fact that when they added it in Adventureland and made Indiana Jones the ride, I'm sure you guys remember from the first episode of me talking about Indiana Jones and being able to ride that ride as a 6 or 7-year-old boy and how magical that was. The fact that they built a ride in Adventureland, not his own land, and you walk through the caves and that whole long queue and how eerie, how old. They just made you feel like an archaeologist as you're walking through, right? That you're literally walking through a dig site and you're about to go through, I don't know, a pyramid, not necessarily a pyramid, but like a sanctuary, a crypt. They nail that and correlate that. They give you that excitement that Indiana Jones brings when he is going to get, the Ark of the Covenant. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, this is really going to happen. Or at the very beginning when he gets the skull, the gold god, and then the ball rolls and everything, right? That movie comes out swinging. That is one of the most iconic scenes in the first 10 minutes of a movie. And then they use that on the ride, and you get to see that ball that chased him in the movies, and you get to be inside the Jeep as it's rolling towards you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get crushed right now. It correlates that movie magic into the ride, and it creates that everything that you love about the movie, right? So that's why I think movies in Disneyland are just hand in hand what makes it so magical. Let's continue. Marvel without Spider-Man is like Disneyland without movies. If Marvel didn't have Spider-Man, I think Marvel wouldn't be as top as it is and wouldn't be such a successful company without Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. And we wouldn't be having an Avengers campus at the parks if it didn't happen. Now, rest in peace, Bugs Land, because it's still the best. I miss it every day. I'm sure a lot of you do. I wish they would bring it back in some sort, because Bugs Land was epic, and who doesn't love Flick? We just watched it the other day. Our son got to watch it, and obviously he's not fully engaged in it just yet, but he loved it. Who doesn't love ants and sticking up against grasshoppers? And it was such a great movie, and the music score, again, amazing. But back to Marvel Avengers Campus. Without Avengers itself being such a huge franchise, Avengers Campus wouldn't feel the same, right? I love that they are incorporating every character now. I love that Deadpool actually got to come back this time, or come and actually be part of Disneyland, and Wolverine and their interactions and them actually getting to stay in character, kind of be a little R-rated at times. I don't know if they got to cuss. I never really saw any clips of them cussing. But still, to be a little bit PG-13 for a Disneyland park was pretty freaking on point. The fact that it's a rated R movie is, of course, it's Deadpool. And the fact that they allowed it is awesome. That's the things that Disney needs to continue to do, is still go for its adult audience, because a lot of us grew up with Disney, and it probably wouldn't be the same park if we weren't there supporting it from kids to now. So they need to keep doing it. But again, the connection of the Infinity Stones and the Gauntlet, and that being merchandise, and that being a connection to the magic when you're there, the music. There's so many good Marvel scores and theme songs, right? The Avengers theme song is one that can't be topped. That thing, every time I hear it, I'm like, we're going to go do this right now. Like, I'm going to run through a brick wall. That's how amped up it gets you, right? It's so cool. So cool. Makes you feel so heroic. So again, Marvel movies wouldn't make Avengers Campus the same. I've got a lot of topics here, and I'm like 14 minutes into this topic and into this episode, and I have this is just one of my main points. So we're going to start picking it up a little bit. Cars, Pixar movies in general, correlation to the park. When you go to Cars Land, and you get to see Radiator Springs, and it just bring you to the home, that home small town vibe that Cars built for you, right? And then you still get the NASCAR fast car aspect of doing Radiator Springs racers. You can't have Cars without fast cars, right? The fact that they built that whole land, DCA nailed it. I'm really excited that Walt Disney World is getting something Cars related and getting 2 rides. First of all, jealous that you're getting like 2 actual moving rides. Okay. Not that Luigi's and Tow Maters doesn't count. Okay. Or I mean, just Maters in general doesn't count as like a full tracked ride like Radiator Springs Racers. That's my only thing. But they're getting 2 of them. That's not fair. I want it over here. But Cars. you connecting with Lightning McQueen, you getting to see the town that you fall in love with the movie Cars, and then them to even do Life Could Be a Dream at, when the lights we're at sunset and the lights all come on. Epic, right? Really just hits your, sorry, I got like hair on my tongue. It really just hits you in the feels, right? Because that's one of the most iconic scenes of that movie is them dancing on the street after Lightning McQueen just paves it, right? A great one. Man, I'm really trying to Pirates of the Caribbean. How can we not talk about pirates being correlated from the ride to the movie? Okay, opposite way. They created such a magical ride that we all love, to smell, that you breathe it in and you're like, I'm on Pirates. And then the fact that they make a movie based off the ride, that's crazy, right? Just crazy. Sorry, I just keep coughing. I've been fighting something for like a couple weeks now. But anyways, they built a movie off that. So if the ride was so magical and we all love, there's a Pirates at every Disney, right? Every Disneyland park, there is a Pirates ride. Because it's so iconic, Disneyland itself without pirates is nothing. Pirates was such an iconic thing that they make a movie. They did the opposite way. That it was so magical of an experience that they were like, let's make a movie series out of it. Jack Sparrow, man, crush, like iconic character for pirates too. And then so much so, such an impact of the movie, they had to add it into the ride. So they did it 3 ways. They create the ride that creates the magic. They create the movies that makes the magic off the ride. Then they take the magic of the movies and put it back in the ride. They just did a 3-punch on us, and it's amazing. That's freaking amazing, right? Because look at that. Think of that. They touch your just senses with that. You fall in love with Jack Sparrow, and then he becomes part of the iconic ride that we all loved. That is a 3-punch magic right there, right? I just got to keep moving on, but at the same time, I don't want to. Haunted Mansion, right? We're talking about all these epic movies. And what I'm talking about, Haunted Mansion-wise, it's the Muppets Haunted Mansion. First of all, again, Haunted Mansion, the ride was, again, like a Pirates. Haunted Mansion came out, the ride, and then movies kind of trickled off of it. The one with... man, I can't think of his name. He voices Donkey. Why can't I think of his name? But anyways, a Donkey on Shrek. When they did that one, that was still a good movie. I still like it. But the Muppets Haunted Mansion, the way it correlates so well, the tributes to the ride that it does in that show, or that movie, and how funny it is, that is a magical movie that creates that connection to the ride. And the ride itself is obviously beyond belief magical. I'll be honest, as a kid, I was scared. Anything Haunted Mansion scared the crap out of me. So I was not actually one to ride as a kid until I got probably my teenage years. And then I was like, you know what? I can do this. And then I was like, I was scared of this. Why? I think just because haunted was part of the thing. And I'm not a big fan of haunted stuff, but that made me, a little scared to do it, but then I did it, and was so mad at myself for never going on it as a kid. But I think it made it more special to me as an adult, or as a teenager getting to ride that ride. So anyways, Haunted Mansion, great. Okay. My next topic was correlate them to the park, but we just did that. So fantastic. Now, let's go to park design and theming. That's another way that Disney creates that magical experience for you, right? We could just start right with the castle in Main Street, USA, right? You're looking down Main Street. We talked about it in the last episode, episode 3. If you haven't heard it, go Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anything that you get your things, YouTube as well, because you could see me. You can see my beautiful face instead of listening to it. The way that they set that up, visually, how that plays tricks on your mind, right? With their scaling and how it makes it look bigger than it actually is. But the theming of Main Street USA, when you walk in, and you just feel like you're home, right? You just feel like it just connects you to that, connects you through the magic of Disney. I would say with them doing that scaling, that it really does just makes you feel like you're part of a bigger thing than it is, which is awesome. which is like they crush that visually. Your eyes are like, man, this is really tall, but it's really not. They crush the theming on that as just small town, middle USA, mid state USA, and it's just awesome. That's just the one beginning park. You go into Fantasyland and get to see all your favorite old Disney movies, Pinocchio, Snow White, Peter Pan. All of us love Peter Pan. As a ride too, like Peter Pan, that whole area is themed to feel like an old timey book. Basically, is what I always feel every time I'm there. You got the carousel too. You got Dumbo, Casey Jr. Railroad. I love that ride. By the way, one of my favorites in Fantasyland. I didn't call that my favorite ride in the theme area because I love Pinocchio so much better. And I raised some concerns because people are like, what about Peter Pan? Nah, it's all about Pinocchio. Okay, one of my favorites. Connects you right to that movie. Again, correlation to movies. But Casey Jr. as a train ride around like the miniature scale Storyland boats, like so cool. Who doesn't love Casey Jr.? That theme song based off Dumbo, I love it. One of my favorites. Adventureland, right? You walk through that theming of feeling like you're in the wilderness, in the jungle. Even Bengal Barbecue is one of my, I love that spot. I do miss the pickle spot where it used to be next to Jungle Cruise, although they put it inside like the Indiana Jones or like the shop there. But I do miss where the original pickle spot was, which was closer. It was right next to Jungle Cruise. But that theming of as you walk in, although Aladdin, I always felt like it didn't fit like the jungle wilderness vibe right there. Like I get that they try to do a bazaar and that makes sense, but the fact that they put the dole area in the back now with tiki torches and everything like that little hideaway, I think it is the hideaway spot, is so good now, and you just get to go back there and chill, and it just fits the theming a lot better. Although I miss Aladdin being there and Jasmine, but still that theming now fits a lot better, I would say, visually. And that whole jungle, like they crush it with the Jungle Cruise, and Indiana Jones makes sense there, and the Bengal Barbecue, and what used to be Tarzan Treehouse, the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. That whole area just makes sense, and it just themed perfectly, right? Tiki torches, everything like that makes you feel part of the jungle. New Orleans Square, the streets when you walk to the very back and kind of walk around, again, it's such an iconic feeling of like you're in New Orleans, right? When they play the little bands, and Pirates of the Caribbean makes sense because you're pretty much down there in the bayou. And the theming just makes sense, and it creates such a magical atmosphere. I mean, we could talk about the theming of Black Spire. I pretty much already do. The sounds and everything they build back there, just like hearing the ships fly over at night and the stormtroopers walking around, and it just creates Oga's Cantina. Come on, you get to see Rex, rest in peace to Pee Wee Herman, but like you get to see Rex be as a different version of himself and get to DJ for you. You get some sick drinks. Like Oga's Cantina is like what you thought a bar in Star Wars would be like. The theming, again, just cool. Toontown, you got Mickey's hometown. Like, it's epic, right? What I'm trying to say is that just creates the magic for you, right? They just know how to hit your senses in the best possible way. And we can just move to fireworks, right? The fireworks, the night shows. Now, I'm not very seasoned on knowing the names of the shows, so I apologize on that one. I need to be better at that. I apologize. But when my wife and I can watch a fireworks show on YouTube and cry, that's how you know that they've created such a magical experience. We're not even physically there in person and tears are coming down our face. The fact that they connect it again with your movies, Lion King, Toy Story, they hit all those key movies that you just love, Moana, Finding Nemo, Frozen. Like they incorporate it all. By the way, low key, always a sleeper pick, always my favorite. Hercules. If you see Hades on there, oh, he's my favorite villain of all time because again, amazing movie. But during the show, they like empower you to be the best version of yourself, that anything is possible if you just believe. Quote by Walt Disney, right? You can just do it. Like they empower you, they hit that they hit your heart in a sense of like you should have courage to attack this world and spread your love and spread your light. I think Disney empowers that very well, and pushes that empowerment of like this world can be conquered if you just put your head to it. And by conquering, I'm not saying like be a dictator, take over the world, but doing the things that you want to accomplish and accomplish your goals. There is no boundaries. The only boundaries is what you set. And I feel like the shows really push that. And they really push to love your family. They push to be good to each other. They really hit you on a human level, is what I feel like every fireworks show is, right? They connect you with one movie or another and have that as a theme. And it's great. We can even talk about Halloween right now, since we're about 2 weeks away from Halloween, 3 weeks, which I will have a great episode coming up for that. So I hope you're ready, because I know I will be. Might even have a special guest on her. We'll see. We'll buckle in and we'll, pull on your yellow strap and we'll see. So you like that? I did a little Disneyland, little jump on ride thing. But yeah, with the Halloween theming, with Christmas theming, like they crush that and create such a magic of the holidays for you. Music. Now, when you have someone like a John Williams on your payroll, it's really hard to be beat, right? You could just be in Tomorrowland and hear a John Williams score, and you're like, holy crap, right? Holy crap. Or you could hear a Danny Elfman score. Holy crap. Those are so hard to top, right? Especially if it connects you to a movie. When they use the movie soundtracks to create an ambiance, it's sick. I think we all go on YouTube, especially when we're cleaning the house here. We go on YouTube, put on the Disneyland Esplanade music, and just listen to it. And the way that they've curated that just creates such happiness, right? And they update it, I get it. There's no more zippity doo-dah, which really makes me sad. But the music, they like set the tone for you. Like all the things that you know and love are just getting connected right from the start, which makes it great. It makes you just come out swinging and feel that connection. Parades, another great magical experience, right? The nighttime parades, the electrical parade. There's so many good ones that you wind up singing even after. Excuse me. I'm trying not to cough in the mic too. The ones that just they get you like dancing and singing and vibing and put you in such a good mood, and then you get to see all your characters on this parade. I'm super excited to have my son be able to experience those parades because they're iconic. When you think of like a Christmas parade, you cannot do anything without the toy soldiers, right? The trumpeteers. That is absolutely the best thing. Growing up, I always dreamed that one day I wanted to be part of that. Now, I am not talented musically or anything like that, but to see them, the toy soldiers, and they trumpet and they drum, sick. That is something I have to see every Christmas time because it's iconic. We're just covering like this huge umbrella under the magic, right? I'm just calling out things that really are magical and make Disneyland so fun and makes you come back time and time again. I kind of have talked about it, but the rides bring the movies to life for you and create a magical experience, right? Characters and interactions, getting to be in like Mickey's house and walk through Mickey's house and you understand it and it makes sense because that's who Mickey Mouse is, and then getting a selfie or a picture with him. Fun fact, Mickey Mouse and I have the same birthday, November 18th. So that'll be a fun episode. I'm definitely going to talk about Mickey at that point, November 18th, because I have to, because me and him share the same birthday. So I have to, we have to talk about that one. But but going into like the different lands and creating that magical interaction when you see them, like a Buzz Lightyear, where you see Woody, you see, Minnie or Donald or Goofy or Pluto, and seeing them in their like atmospheres that they've created creates such a level of magic. Character interactions for sure. Creative food and drink. I think that's a magical thing that they do, is being original with their food and connecting it to a movie and connecting it to a theme, right? One of my favorite things is caramel apples, and the amount of little things they do to make a caramel apple magical. My favorite one is I think it's just the cheesecake apple, where it's dipped, it's Mickey marshmallow ears. All time one of my favorites. I have to say, just basic things that create churros. Who doesn't love a Disneyland churro? A Disneyland pickle, for some reason, always hits. Disneyland popcorn, that is my go-to. Now, I just found out, I'm a big fan of Lou Mangello. If you haven't checked out his podcast, WDW Radio, he's been doing this podcasting for years. In fact, encourages a lot of people to do that. But Becky and him were talking about Maurice's in Disneyland. First of all, I didn't even know that place existed, and I've walked by it a cajillion times. But apparently there's a garlic pretzel bread there, and next time I'm there, I'm getting it. So if you listen to my podcast, and the next time I go to Disneyland, you'll be like, oh my gosh, Austin talked about that. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting one. Garlic bread is my favorite. And to quote the famous Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, bread makes you fat. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Food. So food is such an iconic Disneyland thing. I think that they do a great job overall. There's things that are just pretty normal food, taste-wise, but the things that they crush and the things that they make iconic make food such a very magical experience at Disneyland. There's certain things you gotta do at Disneyland that maybe you just may not do normally. When I'm at Disneyland, a churro just hits a different level. Popcorn there, I always have to have popcorn in Disneyland. Something about it, now I'm a big popcorn guy anyway, but something about it, they do something that maybe they put drugs in it. I don't know. That makes it addicting. I'm just kidding. I know that's not true. But it's just so good. And it there's nothing better for me than walking around the park and enjoying a popcorn and just people watching and enjoying the atmosphere that Disney has created for us, right? Yeah, that was a big topic of that one. Smells, I mean, we all know that they created those smell makers and just, they hit your senses, right? There's the iconic pirate smell. There's the iconic Haunted Mansion smell. There's the iconic, Indiana Jones has a smell. Every time you walk through that queue, it just smells like wet lime rock or just wet rock, and it's not true, but they created that smell. When you're down Main Street, the bakery smells. They know how to attach your senses to a memory. When they attach your senses to a memory, it's a lifelong memory, right? Which is why they're so good at what they do. I think that's what makes Pirates so iconic. I think that's what makes Haunted Mansion so iconic. I think that's what Main Street USA is so iconic, is they connect you on multi-sensory levels. Visually, audially, smell-wise, and then like you go have Blue Bayou, and that correlates to Disney, or to Haunted Mansion, or wow, screw that up. Blue Bayou correlates that to Pirates of the Caribbean too. I think of that chicken gumbo, and I think immediately of Pirates of the Caribbean. They encapsulate every 5 cents for you into that thing. I think another thing that they create such great magic on is merchandising. I mean, I'm wearing a Buzz Lightyear shirt that is like one of my favorite shirts. Them hitting like theme merchandise. There's nothing cooler than a Spirit jersey. I have so many Star Wars Spirit jerseys, but I also have a Walt Disney World from my visit from Walt Disney World. I had to have one, and I think I have a Disneyland one too. Just a black one with the white lettering. You've got to have a Spirit jersey. Whether it's a little backpack, a Dooney and Burke, a Loungefly, what they do with Box Lunch and Hot Topic. They make these cool freaking merchandising that you want to wear. And that just expands the magic for you. There's nothing cooler than like dressing up. So I'll post right here for those that are on YouTube, this video, or not video, a picture of my wife and I. She was I think it's Darla from Finding Nemo, and I was Hades. Being able to dress up as your favorite character, and again, it's not merchandising, but it's being able to physically dress up like those characters, makes you enjoy the magic in itself. You get to be someone that you're not. But that merchandising, they crush it. That creates its own magic in itself. We want to wear things we love, right? Well, Disney does a great job of making things that you want to wear and love. You know who else creates magic for you? Just Mickey. Mickey himself. When you see a hidden Mickey, that's magical. They actually have us walking in our daily lives, and we see 3 circles, 2 on the top, 1 big one on the bottom, and we're like, Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse. It doesn't matter what it is. It couldn't even be anything close to that. It could be just close enough, and you're like, Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse is there. Mickey Mouse is there. Mickey Mouse is there. It's something about that correlation of Mickey Mouse that has just changed the whole world. Everyone knows who Mickey Mouse is. You cannot walk down the street and ask someone, do you know who Mickey Mouse is? 99% of the time, I think more like 100% of the time, everyone's going to know who Mickey Mouse is. Such an iconic character. Now, I can maybe walk down the street and be like, hey, do you know who Ant-Man is? And they're like, who? But you can definitely walk the street and ask someone, hey, if I draw 3 circles in the sand right here, can you tell me who this reminds you of? And they're going to say Mickey Mouse. The magic that Mickey has created is global domination. You don't not know who Mickey Mouse is. And you know his voice, and you know who Mickey Mouse is. Steamboat Willie, the iconic, cartoon that created Mickey Mouse. If Walt's wife didn't change the name, Mickey Mouse wouldn't flow off the tongue as easy as it is. Mickeymouse. We all know it, right? Crushing it. Creates that magic across the world for us, and it wouldn't be the same without it. And my final, and this is maybe of tribute or more of a thank you to the cast members out there, but this is who drills it home. It's the cast members. Without the cast members fully buying into the magic of Disney, fully buying into the magic of Disneyland, and creating these environments, creating this experience, creating these interactions, creating the food, painting, creating these designs, this artistry, we wouldn't be in the Disneyland we are today. So without the cast members that put the blood, sweat, and tears into this, Disneyland would not be the same. When you get an interaction and a cast member pixie dusts you and just takes your experience to a whole nother level, there's something that just can't be beat with that, right? Cast members are the GOATs. It wouldn't exist and it wouldn't happen if the cast members weren't the ones that put all their work into this. It creates that magical experience for all of us by them being fully bought in as well. When you get that pixie dust experience, I'll talk to my first time in Walt Disney World. It was going to be our first day in Walt Disney World, in the Magic Kingdom. We are at, I think we were at breakfast, and a cast member came up, asked us about our experience, asked us about like what we were looking excited for, and before she left, she said there will be 2 fast passes added into your queue, into your app, and you're allowed to use those with whatever you want. And 1, that we're not even in the park yet, but 2, she specifically spent that time to want to get to know us a little bit, and 2, to just make our trip that much more amazing. Imagine if we didn't get that extra ride that we may have wanted, or we couldn't reserve it in time, and so she took it to the next level. I even talked to like cast members that like a bellhop that just ask you how your day is, kind of excites you about checking into your hotel. They're goats. They're goats because you're getting excited for your trip. They bring your luggage in there and they create that magical, like, I don't have to worry about things because you guys are going to take care of it. And that's why cast members, I think, really drive this home for all of us, that cast members create the magic. Without Disneyland cast members, Disneyland wouldn't be the same. Without those that actually love everything about it, it wouldn't be where it is. It's such a passion project from the top down. Now, for me, I mean, maybe one day a goal of mine would be to be a Disney exec or a high-level management for Disney. Maybe one day that opportunity will come. As of right now, that's not it. I'm not even in that business, but maybe one day. I mean, that's something I've always dreamed of as a kid growing up, that I would love to be a Disney exec. We'll see, though, one day. Because, it all flows top down. You need someone that's passionate and loves Disney. Business savvy, of course. You got to be business savvy, but one that puts their heart and soul into it. And you absolutely love Disney. I hope you guys enjoyed this magical episode talking about the magic of Disneyland, talking about what creates the magic of Disneyland. This is it. We're officially 1 month into this podcast, and I hope you're enjoying this ride as much as I am. This is the magic of Mayhem. We've got 4 more topics next week. Actually, we might be either 5 or 6 here. I might switch it up here. But we're coming up on the holidays, and we definitely need to have a conversation about the holidays. So I think maybe we'll have a guest on. Maybe we won't. We'll see. By the way, thank you again for listening to my thoughts, my opinions, my ideas of Disney, of Disneyland, of the movies, of everything that it correlates to. I hope you enjoyed your time. I hope I created a little bit of magic in your mind and brought a little Disney love into your day. So, yeah. This is awesome with the magic of Mayhem. Follow me on all my socials. We got TMO_Mayhem on Instagram, X, Facebook. YouTube is the magic of Mayhem. You can find my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. If you want the live video, go to YouTube, because the magic of Mayhem is on YouTube. So I hope you have a magical day, have a magical week. I hope I'll see you next time. Have a great time. I'll see you later. Have a good one. Later.